Are you a Turo host or are you thinking of starting your own fleet? Well, congratulations. This video is going to help you. This is my ultimate guide when it comes to maintenance and how we protect our cars to get them to drive as far as 175,000 miles. But first, I know I'm just a person on the internet, so I'd like to show you my computer screen, or I'm going to show you proof that we actually did build a six-figure Turo fleet. So check out the computer and let's see what we got right here. So this is our Turo page. I will refresh for proof. This is our account here with $103,000 that we've made, basically as of October of this year. We have a little bit of revenue coming in for November and December, but again, that's upcoming earnings. So you'll see here we have $103,000, $386 that was earned for 2025. We have a 17-car fleet, but only about 15 are on the road at any one time. If you look at 2024, you can see we had 46,000. We ended the year last year, I believe, with 8 cars. And then 2023, when we first got started, we just started the last day of July. So we had August, September, October, November, December. This was from 1 car to 3 cars in October. We did 6,818. So as you can see, we went from 6,000 to 46,000 to then 103,000. And as you can imagine, we plan on taking it a heck of a lot further than that as time goes on. So when it comes to maintenance, I think one of the most important things that we have to take into consideration is finding a small mom and pop shop. The main reason here is, especially when it comes to your basic service and maintenance, you want to look for a non-chain, a non-dealer, something like that. Because if you go to Goodyear or any of the other places, Firestone or Mavis or the actual Toyota dealer, you're probably going to be getting oil changes anywhere from like $80 to about $120. We went to Jiffy Lube and I thought it was a complete rip-off, 110 bucks for a synthetic oil change. We find that the small mom and pop shops in our area generally will charge anywhere from like $45 up to about $65 for an oil change, and that is kind of the sweet spot that we like to be in, unless we're buying the oil ourselves and having a mobile mechanic come and do it, something like that. But generally speaking, you may not find them on Google, but real quick, I'm going to share my screen so you could see what you could search for if you were looking that way. So here is Google Maps, and you could search the area for oil change near me. Again, we want to avoid the AutoZone. We want to avoid the Subaru dealership or the Jiffy Lube or something like that. So we're looking for what appears to be a smaller mom and pop shop. So let's see what this is. That's Amco. That's not going to work. Walmart. Walmart is not bad for oil changes. You could go there if you had to. This is what we're looking for, the small gas station repair shop. So this is what I would be looking for, something like this. Then I would take a ride over, talk to them, call them on the phone, see if I could get a pricing sheet for what they have that's available. I think that's a good way to go. How we actually found most of ours was just getting on the local highway, driving down, and just going past all the small gas stations, little shopping centers, strip malls, stuff like that. And we were able to find a couple of different gas stations that had a mechanic. The one that we had a sign up that literally said like oil change special, $39.99. They were just opening. We went in, we shook hands, you know, we talked to them a little bit, and we were able to get for 3 months while they were running the sale. We ended up getting it a little longer than the public because we did have a big fleet. We were able to get that price of $39.99 for a synthetic oil change, which was insane. So definitely recommend leveraging any fleet that you have, or even leveraging the fact that you are trying to expand your fleet and grow into a bigger business. Maybe you only have 2 or 3 or 5 cars. That's still more business than the average person is going to bring. So if they see the potential for the opportunity, they might try to extend the promotion that they are giving to other people longer for you. So beyond that, there are certain things that you have to look for. I find that no matter who you use, there are certain things that no matter where you go, the price is going to be more expensive. So some of those things are tires. Some places just can't get access to tires very cheaply. Tune-ups you're going to find are expensive, you know, $500, $600, $700 no matter where you go. So for things like that, you have to be careful. So what I recommend is doing your due diligence, looking around everywhere that you possibly can, and trying to find the best deal across the board. So for example, let me show you here. When I was shopping for tires, right? We'll just do a simple Google search, and we'll see what we come up with. Just bear with me one second. There I am. Okay, so just bear with me here. Let's say we're going to do discount tires near me, right? And this is going to come up, and you're going to see all these really great prices, like $58.99 at Pep Boys, $58.27 at Walmart, $44.98 at Pep Boys. That's absurd. That's a great price. The problem that I'm finding is that a lot of these actually are just for one specific tire size, and you're going to have a hard time matching them to any car that you have. So first you have to know your tire size, obviously, but across the board, what I have found is that the best place to go to get tires is Walmart overall. So if you go to Walmart, you'll find whatever car that it is you have. Let's just give it an example here. So oil changes as low as $26, good for general maintenance, tire maintenance, they'll fix up your tires, all that stuff. Let's see, tires, okay. Let's just do an example. So I'll do a 2017 Toyota Corolla, for example. Toyota Corolla, very popular car for Turo, does good business for us. It's an LE, and we'll just say that it's the 16-inch tires, fine tires. Okay, so here we go. They have an inexpensive set of tires, $55 a pop. They have Goodyear, which is a top brand, for $93. So there's a whole bunch of different options in here. Generally speaking, when I go to Walmart, I am looking for their brand, which is Douglas tires. I've always found that they were a pretty good value, and they work out very well for me. And expert tire installation, $18 per tire. So you can see here we'd be looking at $88 a tire. 88 times 4, we're still looking less than $400 for a set of 4 tires, which is absurd. It's unheard of, and I highly recommend it. So we actually did do this on a couple of our cars already, and we have gotten them for like $398 when it includes the stems and all the other stuff that you need. So that has been by far the absolute best price that we've been able to find when it comes to purchasing tires. Now, I would recommend doing this across the board, searching for everything you can find, whether it's spark plugs and coils, any part that it is, shop around, try to make a fleet account with any of these stores so that way you know that you are getting the absolute best deal you can. So continuing that search, if for some reason you're able to find the part but you're not able to find the person who can do it, well, then I recommend doing this. So let's take a look at our screen again. And we're going to go to Facebook Marketplace. And in Facebook Marketplace, we are going to search for mobile mechanic. And this is a huge unlock for us that we've had because we were able to find somebody who will just put their tools that they need in their car, drive over to our office, do the work right there in the parking lot, and get everything taken care of. Now, can they do an engine swap or a transmission swap? No, but tune-ups, oil changes, I mean, he even did a rack and pinion for us without taking it to a shop, so you'd be surprised how creative you can get and how many things you could do if you have somebody who's dedicated. So you'll just search in your area, mobile mechanic, blah, blah, blah. I come to you, certified mechanic, years of experience, diagnostics, brake replacement, battery replacement, oil changes, tune-up, starter alternator, suspension. They do a lot of work. So here's an example. You could do that. There's another one here. Just check, see who works out well. Chances are you're probably going to have to try a couple of them to see which one works out best for you. But that's just the par for the course. So same thing with my video production company. When I'm looking to hire an editor, usually I hire 3 or 4 editors to do the same job, as well as either me or one of my own person that I've had actually doing it for the client, just because the budget's already there. I know it has to be done, and sadly, you just have to try people out. I know a lot of old fogies in the video business, at least, they were so afraid of wanting to try new people because they're afraid that it's not going to turn out well. And the only way that you're going to grow is you have to give people a shot. You have to, risk needing to do a repair a second time just to be able to see if they are good, they are quality, and they are trustworthy. So with all that said, I think now it's time for me to show you what our actual checklist looks like for our maintenance, what helps us to decide when to do maintenance, what I've learned over the 2 years that I've been doing Turo now, and what I've learned getting my cars to 175,000 miles, still running well, and more importantly, helping us to cross that $100,000 revenue threshold. So let's take a look at the checklist. I just whipped it up in Google Docs right now. All right, so here it is, our maintenance checklist. It's very simple because all the anomalies that can happen, the things that you don't know, like a hose going or the alternator going, you're never going to be able to plan for that. But our general maintenance, that's very important. Our oil change we do every 5,000 miles at the latest. So if we know it's at like 4,700 and it has a week-long trip, we will do the oil change before that because we don't want it to cross the 5,000 mile mark. You could do them earlier. Earlier is always going to be better, but that's kind of our range where we like to stay profitable on the cars and not spend too much money on maintenance. Other fluids, so this is going to be your brake fluid, your power steering fluid, your transmission fluid. You're checking all fluids on the car, but mandatory is the transmission fluid. That is the most important. We actually had a transmission go on our Acura RDX. It was a 2012. It only had about 114,000 miles on it when the transmission went. So absolutely, you got to take care of the transmission fluid because any of those companies like Nissan and Honda and some of the other ones, they might even tell you that this is like a lifelong transmission fluid. It's a sealed unit. You shouldn't do it. You absolutely 100% should not only change the fluid, but you should change it when you first buy a car, assuming that it's an older, higher mileage car. And then you should take care of it every 30,000 miles after that because you want to prolong the life of your car. Now, we had purchased a Nissan Sentra, and I usually don't like Nissan Sentras, but it had started having transmission slipping a little bit while it was on a trip. And we did a full transmission service. We changed the gasket. We changed everything that you could for a transmission service. And even though at 95,000 miles, the car was really close to seeming like it was going to have a transmission failure, it's been running perfectly since we did that transmission service. So that goes to show you could save yourself doing a transmission like we did on our 2012 Acura RDX, a full $2,500 used transmission with 50,000 miles that we put into a car. And that is a Honda, basically. There's no reason that that repair should have had to have been done, but alas, here we are, it happened. So we know now, and we learned our lesson with that car, that you take care of the transmission fluid, you take care of all the fluids in the car. So your differential, your power steering, your brake fluid, all that stuff. Check them when you go. If they look like they're starting to get dirty, change them. But 100% you do your transmission fluid and you will save your transmission. Same thing as if you do your oil changes, you will save your engine. Aside from that, tune-ups every 30,000 miles. And by tune-ups, I mean you're doing the plugs, you're doing the coils, you're doing the O2 sensors. You want to make sure that that car is running in tip-top shape. You don't want any burning of oil to cake up your plugs or your coils, and then all of a sudden it's not starting properly. The ignition is taking longer to start, all of that stuff. Batteries generally that I don't have on here, it depends on the battery, where you get them from. Lately I've been buying Walmart batteries and I plan to swap them out every year or two just because it seems to be more efficient that way and cost effective. And of course, every time that you go and get an oil change, you check your pads. The reason for this is your brake pads actually, and this is surprising, if you find the right mechanic, then they will do pads only. A lot of mechanics, time and time again, nowadays just say, well, you save on labor just doing the pads and rotors at the same time. Nonsense. You want to do pads and rotors, it's like $350 a set. So $350 for the front, $350 for the rear. You're talking like almost $700 to do a full set of pads and rotors on the car. However, the guy that we use, who uses just pads you could buy for like $25, $30, $40 at the store. You get nice ceramic ones, and to put them on is almost nothing. We have a guy who charges us $125 to do the front, $125 to do the rear, and you could keep reusing those rotors multiple times as long as the pads didn't completely wear down to the point where it's starting to scar the rotor. So if you check your pads at every oil change and you catch them before the pads erase to nothing and start scarring up your rotor, you will save a fortune on your pads. On doing your rotors when you didn't have to. So that's why we check our pads at every oil change. We watch our tires. If it seems like this car's front tires are wearing faster, we'll rotate them to the back. So usually the front tires will generally wear faster than the rear tires. So we'll rotate them when it looks like they're moving significantly faster to double the life expectancy out of them and stop us from having to switch the tires when we didn't have to. So that's kind of our general maintenance checklist. Now, as long as you take care of all of those things, there's always going to be things that come up. The alternator could go at some random time. We've had hoses burst in the middle of a trip. We've had a power steering pump that went on us. Those are all things that come up and are going to happen. You cannot avoid them, but you can't really plan for them. There's no reason to fix a perfectly working or to replace a perfectly working thing or something, but you could always check to see if your rubber hoses and seals and gaskets and stuff are starting to harden. Then that might mean you should probably take a look at them so you don't have a problem. Again, for example, like a valve cover gasket, it would be damn near impossible for you to be able to pull off the whole valve cover, to be able to check to see if the gasket's starting to harden. That's very unrealistic. So I would say unless you had a full-time mechanic, there's no way you're going to be able to do that. For the most part, those are things that are going to come up. Now, if you know that you're buying a 10-year-old car, the alternator's never been done, you may want to keep checking it when you go and take the car for an oil change. Just have them hook it up to a battery thing, check the voltages coming out of the battery, check the alternator, see maybe if it looks like it's dipping. But again, 99% of the time, it's just going to go. It's hard to tell. So that's our general maintenance checklist. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to put a description down below. Let me know what your maintenance looks like on your Turo fleet. And if you are interested in having a one-on-one call where I could help you optimize your fleet, help you build it to that six-figure point, hopefully beyond, help you with your maintenance, finding and building deals or something like that, I do have a TidyCal link in the description below. You could book a one-on-one call with me and I'd be happy to go over that stuff with you. But the last point I would like to make is when you're going around and talking to these shops, make sure that you leverage your fleet. For us, now that we have 17 cars officially on our Turo fleet, I'm able to go with a substantial amount of business, and that helps get, even if I don't get a better price, it helps me get prioritized. And that's very important. That prioritization allows me to be able to get more things done quickly, because for us, every day that a car is not available to be rented, it could cost me like $40 to $50 a day that I'm losing in revenue. So I need these repairs done quick. And of course, working with people in these industries, as any industry for the most part, it's going to take time. I know that. But I like to try and leverage my fleet, so at least they're bringing it in, they're calling me, they're letting me know that they're getting on it as quick as possible, they're trying to get the part. It's the wrong part, that takes longer. I get it. It's totally fine. But priority is important, and finding people that understand that you're a business owner and you are bringing them a lot of business, as long as they're not so busy that they just don't care, then I think you will have success with that. So leverage your fleet, leverage your business, what you're hoping to accomplish with it. Try to get fleet pricing. If you have to go to like a Mako for auto body work, or you're going to an AutoZone, try to get those fleet prices so you get discounts. Do your own due diligence, shop endlessly, search Google, search the internet. You can find better deals like I did for tires and brakes and spark plugs and coils, all of that stuff. You don't have to just go to AutoZone and pay, 5x the price. You can find better deals, and each one of those things, while you may not be growing your revenue, because really there's other ways to do that, and we've done videos on it, you can also increase your net profit out of that revenue by saving money and prioritizing how you can get your stuff fixed. All right, so my name is Brandon. I hope you found this video helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care, everybody.